Welcome to Civil Services Achievers Point. We are discussing today the Assam Tribune of 15th September 2020, and this discussion is based on the new pattern of APSC for both prelims and mains. At Civil Services Achievers Point, we have various courses. In order to join these courses, you can call at the number given below. You can also follow us on our social media platforms. So these are the answers to yesterday's current affairs MCQs. You can pause the video at this slide and check out the answers. These are the MCQs of today's newspaper. These students, you can answer them, answer these questions and comment in the comment section below. You can pause the video here. These are the MCQs of today's newspaper, and we will be discussing some of the topics today in our current affairs discussion. So you can try to answer them and mention the answers in the comment section below. So these are the important newspaper articles of today's Assam Tribune paper and the important editorials. Now students, let us begin with the news articles. The first topic we are discussing is regarding the Indo-Nepal relations, and due to the lockdown impact, the social ties have hit in border districts of India and Nepal. Now this topic we are studying under the General Studies 2 paper, topic International Relations. The background is that the coronavirus pandemic and currently frayed relations, the troubled relations between India and Nepal have created an unprecedented situation. That is, unprecedented situation means it occurred never before, like the relations which India and Nepal have now. And this is because primarily of two reasons. One is the coronavirus pandemic and the subsequent lockdown, and the other is the troubled relations which India and Nepal is sharing in last couple of years. And the most impact is seen in the border districts of Bihar along the Indo-Nepal border, and it has affected the social and family ties of the people living in the border districts. So over the decades, people of the two countries have developed social and trade relationships through marriages and other business works, but the tensions between the two nations have even led to cancellation of many marriages recently. And some of the districts are Motihari, Betaya, Sitamarhi, Raxol, East and West Champaran, as their family members who went to Nepal before the lockdown are unable to return. So this shows the frayed relationship which India is sharing with its neighbor. Now coming to the next important topic. This is a very important topic for our agriculture. Government introduces 3 farm sector bills. So 3 bills with respect to our farm sector has been introduced, and government has reiterated its stand on the MSP, and it has said that MSP will stay the minimum support price. Now the background is that the central government has introduced 3 bills in Lok Sabha on the farm sector, and it has asserted that they will help the farmers to get a remunerative price or a fair price for their produce, as well as private investments and technology. So the central government has introduced 3 bills in Lok Sabha which will ensure the farmers to get a fair price or a remunerative price, which will get them their cost of produce as well as private investments and technology. Agriculture Minister introduced the Farmers Produce Trade and Commerce Promotion and Facilitation Bill and the Farmers Empowerment and Protection Agreement on Price Assurance and Farm Services Bill, while the Minister of State and the Minister of State for Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution has introduced the Essential Commodities Amendment Bill to replace the ordinances promulgated by the government earlier. So during the lockdown, certain ordinances were passed, and to replace them, these three bills have been introduced in the Lok Sabha. Further, the minister said that the proposed laws will enable barrier-free trade in agriculture, produce, and also empower farmers to engage with investors of their choice. So it will enable the farmer to have a barrier-free trade in the produce or in the agricultural produce, and also it will benefit the farmers to engage with investors of their choice. So these steps are only the latest in a series of measures taken by the government as part of its continuous commitment to championing the cause of welfare of the farmers. So the minister has reiterated that these are the steps which are taken as a series of steps or measures by the government, which will continuously lead to the cause of welfare of the farmers. Further, it is said that almost 86% of farmers have agricultural land of less than 2 hectares. That is, 86% of farmers have agricultural land holding of less than 2 hectares. So it becomes very unprofitable, or the farmers are unable to benefit from the minimum support price initiatives. Also, the minister has assured that the MSP will stay. So this has been the development in farming sector in the Lok Sabha. However, the bills have received some criticisms by the opposition party. So the minister has further assured that the bill will help the farmers as they are unable to invest much in their farm and do not attract investments from others. Now coming to the next important topic, this is regarding the capitalization. So the government has sought the Lok Sabha's and the Parliament's approval or node for rupees 20,000 crore capital infusion in the public sector banks. Now this topic we can study under the General Studies 2 paper, policy topic, or GS3 paper, economic development also we can study. So the government has sought Parliament's approval for infusing rupees 20,000 crore in public sector banks in the current financial year to meet regulatory requirements. So this is part of the first batch of supplementary demands for grants for the fiscal 2021 moved by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. The government has sought Parliament's agreement or approval for additional spending of rupees 2.35 lakh crore, which includes a cash outgo of rupees 1.66 lakh crore, primarily to meet expenses for combating the COVID-19 pandemic. In the last fiscal, that is 2019 and 20, the government proposed to make rupees 70,000 crore capital infusion into the public sector banks to boost the credit for a strong impetus to the economy. So in order to make the economy strong, this capital infusion into the public sector banks is made by the government. However, the government refrained from committing any capital in the budget 2020-21 for the PSBs, hoping that the banks will raise funds from the market depending on their requirements. So here, some of the banks which have got the credit are mentioned here. Students can note them because in prelims based MCQ APSC may ask, so you can note these points. Fact based questions may be asked. The government has also requested rupees 1,232 crore as subsidy to small and development small industries development bank of India, it is SIDBI, on interest subvention of 2% on prompt repayment of Shisu loans extended under the Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. So this is another initiative taken for the entrepreneurs and small investors and another Mudra Yojana. Now coming to the next important topic, the MSME Ministry has told the corporates that to clear small units due on priority basis. So that this topic we are studying under the General Studies 3 paper, topic economic development. The MSME Ministry has asked corporates to clear the pending dues of the small and medium enterprises on priority, as these payments are important for operations and sustenance of jobs in the sector. The ministry has directly taken up the issue with the top 500 corporate groups of the country and has written e-letters to the owners, CMDs or top executives of these firms. During the announcement of the Atmanirbhar Bharat package, it was desired that the MSME receivables and dues should be paid in 45 days. It added that around rupees 10,000 crore have been reported to be paid by the ministries and the central public service enterprises. The ministry has also urged corporates to join trade receivables discounting system TREDS to start transacting. In 2018, the ministry made it mandatory for all CPSEs and corporate entities with more than 500 crore turnover to onboard the TREDS platform, that is the Trade Receivables Discounting System. Now we will discuss the important editorials from today's Assam Tribune newspaper. The first editorial we are discussing is the Judicial Concerns, and this topic we are studying under the General Studies 2 paper, topic polity. So the author discusses in the editorial that one adverse outcome of the COVID-19 pandemic has been the slowing down of the mechanism for the delivering out the justice. The judicial process in India is extremely slow, especially in civil matters, with some cases being dragged on for decades. So as per the data, so students, you can quote this data in exam, as this is an official data. As per the data uploaded on a National Judicial Data Grid, currently around 3.39 crore cases are pending, and the pandemic-induced lockdown has threatened to aggravate the situation, and this case has been raised by the Chief Justice of India, S.A. Bobde, who has said that the pandemic would present a huge pendency of cases in courts, and a lot of emphasis has to be placed on utilizing mediation for resolving many of these matters. So mediation is a informal discussion among the parties in front of a third party and trying to settle the case. Also, some sections of the people were particularly affected because of the delayed justice and the induced national lockdowns. Is a large number of under trial prisoners languish in jails across the country as they don't get bail, and many even spend more time in prison than their actual term if they are convicted. So under trial prisoners means against whom cases are running in the courts, and sometimes it happens that when they are given actual term, they have spent more time in prison as under trials. The Chief Justice of India has rightly said that he believed that this is a time when a lot of emphasis has to be placed on utilizing mediation, pre-litigation and post-litigation mediation to resolve many matters. Also, the Chief Justice of India has stressed on the need to focus on mental health. So this is an important topic or important editorial with respect to our Indian polity. So students, you can make a note of it. Now coming to the next important editorial is the Shanghai myth and India's interests. So this editorial discusses the importance of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Students, a question on mains as well as prelims can come about the members of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the headquarters and the founding members and the date of formation. So let us discuss the editorial. So the author argues that the Shanghai Cooperation Organization has emerged as an important platform of regional cooperation comprising most of the countries of East, Southeast and Central Asia. So as regional peace and security are the most focused areas of the organization, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization is a forum that tries to deal with terrorism and extremism in an effective manner. And along with this, the threat from the non-state actors, drug and human trafficking, cyber security, and data sharing among the member states are prime agendas of the SCO. So, however, things have not turned around expectedly so far as per the author, and the main reason behind this is the conflicting strategic interests of some member states. China and Pakistan are important members of the SCO. China as a founding member has a larger hold in the affairs of the SCO. Pakistan plays the role of extending the Chinese agenda. Now, this slide is very important. You can pause and note the points here. The member states are mentioned that China, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, India and Pakistan. These are the member states. The headquarters of the SCO is in Beijing, China, and it was founded in 15 June 2001, and the founding members are China, Russia, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan. Now the main question is, what makes the SCO relevant for India? In fact, diplomacy is a different ball game that always tries to find out opportunities to harness. This is the reason India cannot ignore the potentiality of this organization. So the point for India that makes the SCO relevant is the presence of Russia and the nations of the Central Asia in the SCO. And similarly, the primary agenda of the SCO is combating terrorism and extremism, which suits India's strategic and diplomatic interests. Moreover, the international and regional scenario in particular have changed during the last 1 decade. Also earlier, the SCO was considered an anti-US forum led by Russia and China. However, with the US dominance declining in the region, the SCO and its member states have become the most important stakeholders in matters related to the East and Central Asia, just like the ASEAN. Also for India, the connectivity between oil-rich Central Asia, the Arabian nations with the other member states of the SCO is an important reason behind India's engagement with the SCO. India does not have much accessibility of connecting with the nations of Central Asia. The SCO provides okay, the SCO provides a forum for India to connect with Central Asia and the Arabian nations both on bilateral and regional level. So the SCO gives India a platform where India can connect with the Central Asian and the Arabian nations on bilateral and regional levels. So our defense minister and external affairs ministers has visited recently the SCO, and India's agenda regarding Afghanistan and Afghan peace process have been clearly stated by our defense minister. He further reaffirmed India's commitment to support for the Afghan-led and Afghanistan-controlled peace process. During the SCO meet, the bilateral meetings held between India and other member nations were equally important. India's talks with her long trusted partner Russia were also fruitful, and Russia has agreed to speed up the supply of 33 fighter jets, a deal signed between India and Russia. Russia has also assured India that Moscow will follow a policy of no arms supply to Pakistan following India's requests. So, thus during the SCO meet, some important developments took place considering India's strategic, defense and economic interests. But China's desperation to initiate a dialogue process with India shows the mounting pressure on Beijing in the given time. So, China was desperate to initiate a dialogue process with India, and it shows the mounting pressure on Beijing in the given circumstances. Considering declining the US dominance in Central Asia and increasing dependence of Washington on India to protect the US strategic and economic interests in the region, India is unfolding indigenous strategic and economic agenda in the region. So India has proved the point that New Delhi is ready to play a larger role for regional peace and security during the SCO meet, which was ratified by most of the nations including Russia and China. So this is a remarkable achievement in the strategic and diplomatic fronts of India. So with these, students, we come to an end to today's current affairs class. I hope this was very helpful. Wherever important points are mentioned, it is advised that students make a note of it and revise them frequently. Thank you for watching the video. Thank you very much.